Hello, Brenda. Thank you very much for joining me today to give a short talk about what you offer as a teacher and your upcoming retreat at Wellbeing Retreat Center. Thank you.
Thank you.
In a few weeks' time, you have a retreat coming up at Wellbeing. Would you like to give us an introduction to that and what it is that you'll be offering and the type of person that might interest?
Yeah, so it's a 4-day, 3-night retreat. So I like that format because there's time to really get immersed in allowing things to shift and maybe not staying so much in your daily habit patterns. So Feldenkrais is one of the things we'll be doing. Feldenkrais is, if you want to look it up, is spelled Feldenkrais. And Feldenkrais was the name of the man who developed the method, which is about learning. It's about movement, but it's about how we learn and how we change and how we can become more free of habitual patterns of movement. So most people come to Feldenkrais because they want their bodies to feel more comfortable. And it certainly has that aspect of more flexibility, more relaxation, better posture, easier breathing. All those are part of it, but it's also the really gold nugget of it is that you have an opportunity to encounter yourself in a new way, and the lessons are structured that way. So if that appeals to you, then you're one of the people who might be interested in this retreat. It's very experiential, so I usually tell people just come and lie on the floor and see what a lesson's like. And there's a lot of information on YouTube and on the internet to do sample lessons if you want to actually try it before coming. So Feldenkrais is a movement, embodied movement aspect of the retreat. We do meditation every morning. It's a format that goes with the Embodied Life program. It's a style of meditation. Just sit. Can you be with what's arising? So it's not a style of meditation for trying to control your breath or trying to control your thoughts or trying to get rid of certain kinds of thoughts. It's just, essentially, can you learn to hang out with yourself? And if you think about it, we lose ourselves 1,000 times a day, maybe 5,000 times a day. We're off in our head and somewhere else. And this is an invitation to keep dropping back in to yourself. And that's a capacity you can develop. It's a skill you can develop, and it can be very useful, particularly uh, in times of challenge, but not just challenge. It also gives you the opportunity to enjoy the most beautiful things in your life. And that's one of the things we really want to grow in the retreat. So another aspect of what we're doing is called resource building. And that's doing usually small group practices, sometimes dyads or triads of how do we grow the positive feeling states? And you can do that with bringing in the sensory elements that are in those feeling states. Uh, and it's actually can be really life-changing. So and there's a lot, like the one that most people might be familiar with is how do you grow gratitude? Well, that's become almost mainstream, the things you can do in gratitude practices and gratitude writing, but you can also do that with growing a sense of peace or growing a sense of joy or appreciation. And those are things that actually change in your brain. You don't have to know anything about how your brain works, but you can take advantage of how you bring attention to yourself, how you bring awareness to yourself to shift more towards the life you want, the way you want to be in your life. Um, that may sound kind of pie in the sky, but actually it's what you're doing. Um, and another aspect of this retreat is it's fun. It's just fun. There's laughter. It's not like all serious, like we're going to meditate this way and now we got to learn how to move this way. It's like people coming together and, sharing their foibles if they want, supporting each other. It just kind of grows out of the practices that are already happening, that people have fun. Which that doesn't mean it may not be challenging. Certainly, when you come into encountering yourself in a really true way, everything is there, and some of that's wonderful and some of it's challenging. But do you have the tools to work with either state and everything in between? So those are the three legs of the retreat, but we have some other fun things we do. So we'll have a fire ceremony, and you've participated in the fire ceremony. That includes chanting, and it's about setting intention for what you want to release from your life, and then also setting intention for what you want to bring in. And the whole group, through the chanting and the process of transmutation through the fire, supports each other. So it's more than just saying it to yourself. When you have a group of other people supporting you, and your intention becomes really powerful. And you don't say your intention out loud. That process is personal, but the group is supporting whatever it is you're working with the fire. But you've been to a fire ceremony. What would you add?
Um, well, the thing that comes to mind, Brenda, is just how over the years I've seen a number of your different retreats,
Mm-hmm.
and just how unique each one of them are, and how the people who come on the retreat are really the people who make the retreat too, because
Yeah.
each time they really feel like there's a different flavor. Which is supportive of whoever's there and whoever shows up and whatever they bring forward.
Absolutely. Like what he said. Yeah, that's what makes it so fun to lead the retreats, because this basic what we do that I've told you, that's the same, but every retreat has a different flavor. People come together in different ways. It always includes both joy and crying. That just comes out of being with people in a really deep and meaningful way. And so we try to support that. And then of course you have the opportunity to be private, go off by yourself. We have break times, which I think is really important. So we have a 4 to 5 hour break each afternoon, and that gives us time to play, which could include kayaking or hiking or bird watching. There's a labyrinth. There's all kinds of things to do at the retreat center. It's absolutely fabulous. And of course, there's always the eating. The eating is always highly anticipated because the food is so extraordinary. And
Yeah.
we have one more element that we're adding to this retreat, because I have led these retreats for quite a while, and I thought maybe it would be a good idea to bring in someone else to add content. And so this year we have a program on astrology. It's a little like 2 hour intro to astrology, but people will be bringing their charts, and send out information for how to do that, so that you have a nugget that can go with you when you go back home. And I'm totally new to astrology, so that's partly why I'm intrigued. And I found this, I was introduced to this wonderful teacher, Mary Catherine Jackson. And so she's going to be doing that program. If you want to meet her online, her website is Mary Catherine, Kathryn, Jackson.com. And you can go look at her website and see who she is. And she has a free video and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. We don't know yet. I mean, I know where it's going in the schedule, but everything is always brand new in every retreat. So there's a schedule, but there's also a lot of freedom and flexibility depending on what the interests of the group are. And I have a theme for the retreat. The theme for the retreat is "The world is too beautiful and too dangerous for anything but love." And so maybe that sounds intriguing. And yet themes come out of the themes, and that's part of what Solomon was talking about. Each group creates cohesion in a different way. And then the theme and what happens comes out of the intention I've set for what to bring forward in the retreat. And the movement lessons will be working with how this part of your spine moves and connects into your arms and shoulder girdle. And that's really important for posture. It's important for being able to be really well balanced when you're walking and moving around through space. And it's a place where many of us do not have great mobility or great understanding of how this even moves. And of course, here we are on our computer screens like this, which doesn't actually take advantage of the possibilities for that part of your spine and how it connects into the shoulder girdle. So there's practical things that should be useful there. The Feldenkrais lessons are real gentle for the most part, although because they're unusual movements, everybody is responsible for listening to their own body, and actually that's part of what you learn how to do is listen to your own body more carefully. In the resource building, it's learning to listen to how your emotions are alive in your body. Like you cannot have an unembodied emotion. Something in your body changes with any emotion you had. So we can check that out too and see, well, what does that mean for me? And I would like to say also, there's not dogma in this retreat. This is all an exploration. Everyone's adults. You can participate in the way you want and not participate in things if for some reason you didn't want to. Usually people don't want to miss anything, but it's the whole retreat is in freedom and is possibilities for how to be with yourself, how to encounter yourself through movement, through being still, meditation, but meditation in a just sit sort of way. Can you just like be with yourself? That'll make some people pretty squirrely. So if that's you, you're going to like this retreat. Uh,
It just feels
Although experienced meditators are welcome too.
It just feels from what you're saying, to somebody who hasn't been on retreat before, it's a really gentle way in where there's so many different components. There's fun and lightheartedness, but also a serious intention. And although you talked about intention setting at the fire pit, it also feels like for somebody, making the decision whether or not to come on retreat, there is that real opening or trusting into the unknown, as to
Yeah,
what may come up for them.
absolutely. Yeah. And actually, when we're doing our introductions, we do kind of an unusual introduction. Uh, by that, I mean not what's your name and what do you do for a living, although we do learn people's names. But I always ask each person what they're hoping to get out of the retreat. And that's not just for me to know what people are hoping for, but the whole group then helps support
Hmm.
the intention that each person has. And when you pause and really think about what you want, again, that can be really powerful. And it's the beginning of the way the group starts to form. And I would use energetic language because I'm also trained in energy medicine, but it's really interesting the way a group performs over the course of a fairly short time usually.
Mhm.
Um, and we have some people who know each other already, and we always have new people come, so both are quite welcome.
And I think one of the advantages of it being in a retreat setting is that in this sort of spirit of forming new patterns or looking at
Mhm.
things in a different way, it can be really supportive to leave the places of our habitual patterns and go somewhere else in a supportive
Yes,
environment where our lodging's taken care of, our food's taken care of, and we can really just be with ourselves and what's arising.
absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully you're not spending your day with your grocery list in your head. Like sometimes it's so easy to do at home, because your food's already there and there's no grocery store anyway. It's 12 miles to the grocery store.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Again, you're back to like, how do you start to shift patterns and um, taking a step back from the patterns of your daily life is a wonderful way to begin. And that doesn't mean there's not value in having patterns in your daily life, but this is a different kind of opportunity when you step out of that. And, everybody who comes has made an investment of their time. Uh, Somebody's taking care of all the things they usually do in their home, so they've had to figure that out, or families have had to figure that out. That's not insignificant. Um, so all of that is part of how do things shift. It's a shift even to be able to set your life, your life, your more routine kind of way that you live day to day, to set that aside and step into a new pattern. And that's part of why people like travel, because they get that opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, and uh, yeah, that's one of the most wonderful things about travel is uh, the way it can broaden your horizons through encountering new people, new places, new patterns, both for yourself and how other people and how maybe other cultures live.
Mhm.
Uh, you don't even have to go far to find another culture.
Mhm.
Like here in Tennessee, you can just go down the road.
Yeah, for sure. Brenda, it feels quite clear, but I just want to ask you, you know, who you felt the retreat would be for. I know we've talked a lot about the different benefits, but my sense from hearing you talk is that it's truly open to anybody who wants to go on that journey of self-discovery.
Oh, yeah, that's a great way to put it. If you're interested or intrigued, then this retreat is for you. Um, I have background as physical therapist, so some of the things people worry about is I won't be able to do the movement. Um, and I can help people with that. That's one of my strong suits, is helping people figure out how to modify movement so that they can participate in things. Um, yeah, just if these kind of activities and I'll tell you, encountering some really interesting people. I mean, it just blows my mind the cool people who come on these retreats, and it's fun to meet them. Like that's how I met Solon coming on the retreat center,
Mhm.
and yeah, we've had some wonderful times through the years.
Yeah.
So yeah, short answer would be anyone who's intrigued, everyone. I think it would be great. If you have concerns, you can always get in touch with me and I'm happy to talk more. The retreat center is not particularly handicap accessible. I would think that's maybe the only thing a person should consider. Uh, and I have to navigate that myself. So if somebody has questions about that, um, but the retreat center and the people who are there are also incredible at trying to support any kinds of needs that people have. Food, movement, rest, quiet, activity, like they are there to help each person have the best retreat they can have, truly, truly. And Solomon's one of the people who makes that happen. Are
Thank you.
you going to be at my retreat?
I'm gonna be at your retreat, Brenda, and
Okay.
I feel excited already
Yeah.
for just even talking about it. It evokes that visceral sense. Um, One final thing that comes to mind that just is a personal curiosity that others may find of interesting. It sounds so special what you're offering, and just I can feel the wholeness of it um, for you and the participants. And I'd like to ask, what moves you to lead these retreats?
I guess what got me going initially was it made such a difference in my life. I mean, my life has been a journey as well through many different modalities, starting more kind of mainstream medical physical therapy, and then moving into learning Feldenkrais method. I can't even say how life-changing that was for me. And then Russell Delman, who was my mentor for Embodied Life, and I went through that mentorship program with him. It's a 3-year program. He was a Feldenkrais trainer who originally trained with Moshe Feldenkrais in his very first training here in the US, but he was also a Zen meditator, and he brought that element and the resource building, and those like they broaden out what your possibilities are for growth even more than the Feldenkrais method does. And growth not through being better at something or more of something that somebody said you should be, but more of who you are. So I'm really big on like my thing in life is to help people bring their gifts forward. And you can use whatever language around that fits for you, but how do I support a person so that they can bring the gifts they brought to this life forward? And so this combination that we do in the retreat, I think, certainly supports that. There are obviously many avenues towards bringing your gifts forward. But, sometimes we just need to remember, like, we even have gifts, right? It's easy to feel like you're maybe a little bit broken or not quite right. And I think inside everybody has that feeling at least some of the time. But like, you're awesome. I mean, I really believe this. You're like so incredible. And but we all have our stumbling blocks. So you can't unstumble a stumbling block if you don't even know what it is. You have to bring some awareness and see where am I getting hung up in movement, in my life, in how I think about things. See, that's the key with Feldenkrais. When you start moving with awareness, you learn how to find how you're blocking yourself in other aspects of your being, your interiority. And so it's not really just about movement at all. Movement is the doorway into knowing yourself. That's what Moshe Feldenkrais was talking about. But it also usually feels really good. You feel kind of more mobile and more yourself. I mean,
Sure.
ultimately, all of this is about you becoming more yourself, like the best version of yourself, the most fulfilling version of yourself.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for that beautiful and touching answer. And I want to wish you the very best for your retreat in a few weeks. And thank you for offering it too.
Thank you.